Welcome. In this video, I'll be going over some cheap comics that are worth looking at and holding for the long term. As always, this isn't financial advice, just my opinion, but if I had the gems, I'd be sweeping the floor right now, picking these comics up. So some of the comics I'll be looking at today are the common Marvel comics that are appearing on Veve right now. And what a lot of people don't realise, some of these comics, particularly the common ones, are the cheapest NFTs out there that have utility. As you all, I'm sure, aware, with these comics you can go in and actually read the digital comic, or you have it projected out through your AR camera and your phone into the real world here. So if we look at the common, for example, for Amazing Spider-Man, sitting at around 20 gems just now. If we look at House of X, we can see here, again, that's sitting around 12 gems. So what you can notice here is these are very high edition comics, but despite that, I do feel there's opportunity here. In particular, if we look at House of X here, there's about just under 1,000 of the commons on sale on the market, out of I believe a total mint number of 40,000 editions for common. So yes, there are a lot out there, but what people really need to realise here is there's many more people out there yet to come to Veve. There will be more than 40,000 people who in the future will be looking up to pick up one of these NFTs with utility. And for the price of 12 gems, which at the moment for people in America is $12, it's hugely cheap right now compared to some of the other NFT projects out there. Even with a higher mint comic of say 60 or even 90,000, that's still a hugely smaller number compared to the total number of people out there who would be looking to pick up a comic NFT, particularly a licensed comic from Marvel. And a lot of these comics are, so that's not to say that all common comics are cheap. If we look at, for example, this 4 comic, this was a 10,000 edition one, and we put common for that. This will probably be a bit higher at the moment, just given the rare numbers there. So look at that, it's 105, 106, 107 gems there. So again, much more than the 12 to 20 gems we've seen for others, but this is because of the even smaller numbers of mints available. So whilst there are used to pick up, at this point, if I had 100 gems to pick up on comics, you can maybe pick up one of these 4 comics, or you can pick up between 7 or 8 common comics from the other series, which I think is really useful to keep in mind here if we're talking about for the longer term. I see comics recovering in the immediate future after a dip there, but longer term, this is just my opinion, but in the next year I see as more people on the app, I have millions of people on the app, these editions of even 100,000 comics could be really sought after as key pieces of comic book history and NFT history, whether that's for first appearance of characters. One of the ones I'm really looking forward to seeing in the future in terms of how it performs is the New Mutants comic. So as we can see here, if I flip between buy now and auction, so the buy now price is around about 11 gems for this, and the auction price at the moment for some of them is under 8 there. And if we take a little look at the comic itself, yes, this is a total of 60,000 editions, but again, year and a half time or so, with millions of people on the app, that 60,000 editions is going to be a very small number indeed, and we've got to really keep that in mind when we talk about the future. So what I'd be looking out for in any comics going forward is at a cheap price. I would definitely be keeping an eye on the auctions for a lot of the common comics, even with the higher print ones. What I'd be looking out for the future is first appearances of characters or important issues in terms of story arc, whether it's number ones or just key stories that happen across the Marvel comic book line. In particular, Web of Spider-Man comes to mind as one of those issues where it's Ben Riley as Spider-Man shown up, and it's quite an interesting story arc. I'd also be looking for, in terms of the comics themselves, the actual edition number, as in the specific edition you're looking to buy. As we all know, sequential numbers that kind of fit around dates, for example 1956, 1234, or palindromes like 1221. All these ones can go for higher than 4 price, so do keep that in mind when you are kind of scouring these commons just now in comics. But it is an opportunity there to kind of buy relatively cheap and potentially make some extra gems by having a particularly useful or unique edition number. What I'd also point out, if I jump back to the comics here, is it's not just common comics. If you look at, for example, the one that came out recently, as I posted in this video, for the Amazing Spider-Man, again, if you check the common here, this is the first appearance of the Green Goblin, and again I bring this up is one of the things I'll be looking for in the future is movies that be coming out featuring characters that are going to be popular. So for you who don't know, Spider-Man's got a new movie coming out end of the year. The trailer just came out today as recording, and in that it was confirmed the Green Goblin will be making his debut in the MCU, and it will be a version of the Green Goblin from previous Spider-Man films from Tobey Maguire back in 2000s. So what that means to me is, with that new movie and that first appearance of that character in that movie, demand for these could potentially go up, because they want more people get onto the app, more people learn about Green Goblin, see the movie, see Spider-Man, and they want to own a part of that and kind of pick that up. So that might drive prices up going in the future. That's another point to consider for the future, is appearances of these characters in popular movies and TV shows that might increase the price of these comics and MAT. Another thing to bear in mind is it's not just commons, but the rare, for example, in this particular case, is a special edition cover made exclusive for Veve. And if you look into that, they're relatively cheap compared to other NFTs on the market. So if you look at the price for this NFT, I believe at one point we were going for as high as 100 gems when it first came out. It's time of recording, this is the day after that. So if you look at the comic come up here, if you look at the buy now prices first, 44 to 45. And if you look at the auctions, again, this can all change when you look at the auctions, but it's sitting around 20 gems there. So again, relatively cheap. Again, if I had 100 gems, I might be tempted to pick one or two of these up, or I'll be bidding a few of them. And again, I only see this going up in the future, in my opinion, because more people come to the app, despite what seems a large number of additions, will actually be relatively small compared to that user base. The appearance of these characters in the future will also make them more desirable to be picked up, in my opinion. For all those reasons stated, I really do feel like this is a good opportunity to sweep before and pick up these comics for a longer term hold. I doubt very much you'll see many more comics staying at around the 8-9 gems going forward. As more people kind of get switched on, get wise to this, we'll start seeing people, particularly the whales, sort of come in and buy up huge chunks of the market. And once we have the ability to kind of use crypto in the app to buy or convert into gems, again, I see a huge opportunity for whales to come in, dump a lot of crypto into gems, and sweep before and pick up a huge number of NFTs. People still don't seem to realise how important these NFTs are, and how useful they can be, and how cheap they are compared to other NFTs. People spend quite a lot of money on NFTs, but are literally just, at this moment, images that don't have any utility. These comics have utility, and they also have prestige, and at the moment I'm going for a really cheap price in terms of gems, so well worth keeping an eye out for the future. If you are tempted to pick any up, please let me know in the comments what ones you already own or would like to pick up in the future, and what you think they'll be worth in a year's time. We're really interested to see in a year's time whether or not those predictions remain true. If you have enjoyed this, quite timely, I'm giving away a free NFT comic on this video here. You can check that for the details, or you can check my latest video here. Thank you, and I'll see you next video.